Ladies and gentlemen of the YouTubeverse, welcome back. This is really uncomfortable. It's time for round 4 of Mustang work. And this time, I think we're gonna make some actually exciting progress. If you were here for the last video, you know that we just pulled the motor back out of this Mustang to do it right, because when we shoved it in the first time, I knew in the back of my mind that I was cutting a lot of corners. So we pulled it out, stripped it down again, masked it off, sprayed a coat of Ford blue on it, put a new timing cover on it and some other goodies. And then after that, we did a bunch of metal prep to the tail end of the car so that I could pretty much get all the grinding and welding out of the way that we were going to do in this kind of first round of restoration. And this time, it's time to prep and paint the engine bay, shove that freshly Ford blue engine back in there, and start hooking up the rest of the drivetrain so that this thing is ready to run and drive down the road. And yeah, it's like 30 degrees outside, and it's probably not the greatest weather to be painting the engine bay in, but I'm okay with cutting some corners. It's the right ones. And this thing is gonna need to be fixed up a bunch after, in kind of the second round of restoration that I'm planning on doing on the car. For example, this battery tray rusted all the way underneath it, just disintegrated. Am I gonna fix that right now? Nope, because it holds a battery in it. But I probably will come back and do it later. So I'm okay with just shooting a can of semi-gloss black on this engine bay after we wire wheel and degrease it, and that'll be good for me for round 1. Maybe round 2, maybe we put a better built motor in there along with it, but right now we're gonna do the quick and dirty. But we're gonna do above the bare minimum, which is what we had done when we put the engine in it last time. So, in order to get this thing degreased and washed down and all ready for paint, I'm gonna push it outdoors for the first time on its wheels, I think, since I've actually had the car. It can actually roll around the garage. I've just never done that yet. And I don't know how easy it's gonna roll because I have this Lightning McQueen ka-chow thing going on with my tie rods where both wheels are just kind of facing inside, and I don't know what's up with that. They're pretty much maxed out on the adjusting sleeves. I don't know if I ordered the wrong ones, but I bought all the steering components in a kit, so you would think that that would be correct. I don't know. I got to do some, researching online about that, but I'll worry about that later. I'm not even done with the front suspension yet. Now, for the meantime, we'll focus on the main goal, which is engine bay, engine installation, round 2. All right, I think that's good. That leaves the engine bay just hanging over the concrete here where it won't run into the shop floor and stay wet. I can just wash it off with the hose. All right, so next step, I got this stuff, which is PEEK. We're just gonna apply a liberal coating all over the engine bay surface. Just get that grease and tar that may have been sitting on there from the engine previously, and let it soak for a little while. And then we'll wash it down and we'll start wire wheeling. Alright, so it's the next day. I had to let it evaporate for quite a while because it's really cold out and it just doesn't happen. So I degreased it, I rinsed it all off, and that's where it sits now. It's back in the garage. There's a couple areas that I just want to hit with a wire wheel on a drill to make sure the paint sticks, and then we'll be shooting some semi-gloss spray paint into this engine bay. And this is just rust reformer. It's a sprayable, I think it's like an acid with a reaction type paint. It's It just makes a top coat that you can paint over, and I'm just hitting the areas that I wire wheeled and wiped off with lacquer thinner just to make sure that there's no hidden rust under there. This will convert it into a paintable surface. I really like it. The only thing is, like, you can spray it upright and you'll still get crap all over your finger from the tip. I don't know why. And then it'll also gum up the tip really quickly because it reacts quick. So keep that in mind if you're using it, but I really like it for these kind of cheap jobs. All right, well, we've got that paint dried enough that I think it's time now to get the engine off the stand, put the transmission back on it with the spacer plate, and get this whole thing dropped in. Quick and dirty. The engine bay looks a lot better just with a couple cans of Rust-Oleum semi-gloss on it, and that was really the whole goal here. I'm not going to go crazy. I probably will end up putting a battery tray in it at some point, but for now, I just want it so that I'm not trying to paint around the motor when it's in the car. I can do the little fixes with the small block in it. Son of a gun! I forgot the separator plate again! Oh! I don't know why this just doesn't click for me, but I have missed this twice now. Okay. Holy cow. Never forgetting that again. Now it's time to put the transmission on. Finally got it all lined up and the bolts are loose. I'm gonna run it down and then we'll be ready to drop this thing in the car. Finally. There it is. All right, it's time to dress up the engine a little bit, and first order of business is an intake. And I got this air gap unbranded Chinese clone online because I'm at the point in the budget where I don't have $400 to spend on an Edelbrock. Although I'd like to at some point in the future, this is hopefully just to get it running. And it looks pretty decent. I'm gonna test it on the motor here. We're just gonna mock it up and we're gonna see what it looks like with no gasket in there. And it looks like it sits pretty nice in the intake valley. And if you line it up here, that looks like a good gap on the China walls. So I think this will work. Stack some gaskets up there, it'll get a little thicker. So I'm gonna put this on, and then before I do that, I'm gonna vacuum out any of the debris and dust I may have gotten in this intake valley while we were putting the motor in the car. Alrighty, cheapo intake gaskets. And that looks right, except for these bolt holes in the rear are really weird where this water jacket comes in. I think there's maybe 2 different intake styles. So I'm gonna actually just take an X-Acto and trim it right around this coolant port. And then I'll smear some RTV over it and we're gonna hope that it's gonna be fine.
Okay, that's not too bad, right? That looks pretty good. I think that will be serviceable for the time being. Just gonna make a quick smear there. Yeah, I think we can roll with that. Temporarily, but I think we can roll with that. We'll replace it with a nice piece someday when I have money.
All right, we are back at it. I've made a couple organizational changes, really tried to clean up the space. Got a little bit of the front end put together off camera, along with just getting the water pump on. This distributor is going to have to come off because it's in the intake, but we're going to really be trying to cobble the rest of the drivetrain together. A big push to try to get this thing running and driving. And the first thing that's going to require is for me to put the brakes together. So I have a whole new brake line set from Classic Tube that we're going to be kind of scabbing into the car. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because I've got the brakes in the rear from a 97 Mustang. The brakes in the front are 4-piston Kelsey Hayes. I've got a 99 Ranger master cylinder that we're going to be using to get a dual master cylinder with the right bore size, which is 15/16 inch. So I'm guessing none of the brake lines are going to fit right out of the box. We're going to probably have to do some cutting, flaring, and adapting. But first step is to actually put the brakes back on the rear. All right, so we got those disgusting rotors and calipers on there. They're gonna work for the meantime, but we're just gonna use them temporarily. And then if this whole axle brake situation works out nicely, then we'll probably just replace the rotors and maybe sandblast the calipers or something to take that nasty red paint off. But got shocks in there too, and that's the rear end all sorted for brake components. We'll have to come back in there for the brake lines, obviously, and that'll require a little more ingenuity. But now we're going to move up to the front of the car, and we're going to take care of the front brakes. And now we're swapping from disc to drums. The good thing about these 60s Mustangs, at least the first 2 years, 65 to 66, is that the drum and disc spindles are the same in the kind of race diameter for the bearings. So I'm using 68 drum spindles, but they should work with my disc brake rotors. I got these brackets from eBay, and they're going to bolt the Kelsey Hayes calipers to the car. I got the proper shoulder bolts from the hardware store, except for that one, which I found, but I'm pretty sure it's at least grade 5, so it'd be all right. And then we'll just throw some nuts and lock washers on these on the back side, zip them down, and then we'll get the rotor put on here with its spacer. All right, I got my wheel seal here. I've already packed the bearings all the way so that there's grease coming out of the rollers, which is what you want. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna shove some in the inside of this disc here so that there's plenty to chill out there in the future. I'm gonna do this smart thing, and I'm gonna throw a pair of my heavier duty gloves on. Just because when it's super cold out, this garage doesn't have heat and it's like 10 degrees out, and you get grease on your fingers, you can forget getting that off because you got to heat it up to get it out of there. And if you are in the cold and you get wheel bearing grease in your fingers, you are done. You might as well they're forever going to call you Mr. Slippery Hands because you got a little bit of wheel bearing grease on your fingers in the cold. It's that bad. All right. Might have gone a little bit overboard with the extra grease here. Okay, foul, just perfect. And these gloves are single use only when you're dealing with wheel bearing grease. You put one pair of them on, you do the one thing you gotta do touching that, and then you throw them away. They are cooked. One rotor, dust the shield, and grease shield and wheel bearing. I don't even know what I'm saying, man. I am done. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room, and that's totally how that bracket goes, so I feel good about that. Okay, we're gonna crank this all the way down and then spin this a couple times. It's not really gonna want to spin, just to get the bearings all seated in. And then we loosen it till it's loose again. And we just kinda, see, these don't have a cotter pin, so you can't really line the castle nut up, but you just kinda tighten it till it's like, it's decent, which that feels good. Then we put this in there. There you go. And now this nut's locked in place and this is done. Just needs a dust cap, which I'm reusing because I forgot to buy new ones. We're gonna scoop these out. Voila! One brake rotor on the car. And here it is on the other wheel. So that's done for brake rotors. I'm still waiting on calipers, so I can't finish the front brake system just yet. But in the meantime, I'm gonna route my brake lines and fuel lines in tandem from front to rear. And in order to do that, I have a kit from Inline Tube, which seems pretty nice, but we'll see how it installs. I am losing my mind about how nothing on this car fits. I actually had to turn off the camera while I was doing the brake and fuel lines because I had to lock in. I was like, why is nothing fitting? Why can't I picture where these lines are gonna route in my mind? You know why? Because when they made this fuel line, they asked their engineer on the team to just close your eyes and imagine a 66 Mustang front to rear brake line. And then they just went off whatever that was. Because what is this vague approximation of a brake and fuel line? I know where it's supposed to go now. After watching a million videos, I know how it routes on the floor. And all the bends are like slightly off so that you're like tweaking it all the way. And then like it doesn't hold itself in place and it'll just spring and fall on the floor, fall on your face. And you have to do the brake line at the same time too because they're routed together in the same clips. And nothing ever works. And the routing doesn't even go to where the stock proportioning valve is, and I know I bought the right ones. I literally just checked it on my phone, but they're just like ever so slightly off in every single bend they make, and it all stacks up and it makes something that's so hard to fit into the freaking vehicle. Hey, but I got a heater, so that's great. I'm sunny in here. All right, you guys, it's been a hot minute, and I have been bad about filming what I've been doing to the car because it's been 0 degrees and below for quite a while, and it's just made working on it miserable, so I haven't gotten much done, let alone filming. But I'm back on my grind now. We're at a balmy 22 degrees today, so I feel blessed. I got my little sunflower heater just filling the air with propane vapors that will eventually lead me to pass out slumped over the hood of this thing, but you know, that's fine, it's fine, we're good. Okay, so here's a couple things that I did while I was off camera. First off, I got the clutch cable kit in. That was pretty easy. I had to weld a little quadrant to the clutch pedal and then drill 2 holes here and 1 for the pedal to pass through. But it was not too bad. It took me about probably a half hour to 45 minutes to install it. Really easy kit. And now we have a clutch pedal. Check this out. You can tell I need to adjust it, but that feels good. That feels like a Fox body clutch pedal. Makes me so happy. The other thing we did is I got the radiator installed. Now, this is a little wider than stock. It's actually out of a Falcon. So what I had to do is just widen the radiator opening and then make sure it just had enough opening for all of the fins. So we're maximally using this larger radiator surface area. The other nice thing about this radiator that I got for only 40 bucks on Facebook Marketplace is that it's got an electric fan on it, and it apparently barely has any miles on it, which I believe because inside the radiator looks really, really clean. So hopefully this works out just perfectly. I'm gonna wire that up to a fan relay kit that I have coming in so it'll come on and off automatically with the temperature. But I found these headers online for super cheap, and what do you know? They actually clear the GT40P plugs, which is just awesome. I might have to make a tool to remove one of these middle plugs in here, but they clear it. I think we'll need 2 90-degree boots to get to the 2 in the middle here, but that's fine. The other worry I have is that the angle that the collector comes out is just coincidentally right where my clutch cable is, which is awesome. So I might end up pulling the driver's side header bashing in the inner two tubes so it's easier to get to the spark plugs, and then giving it a little pie cut and angling that collector away from the clutch cable. But that can all be problems for future Henry. All right, I think I've got it figured out. I've got the fuel line run. I've got the brake lines run front to back too. I've got them all coming up vaguely in the same area as my master cylinder. So as soon as I get front brake parts, I'll be able to put the rest of it together. So I think crash out is over. I think we figured that out. So the brake debacle is pretty much taken care of till I have front calipers that I can put on it, run the lines and whatever. So that's great. And this project is coming along nicely. Oh, what's that? What's this, you ask? Well, this is me crashing out just legendarily about how bad the left quarter on this car was. And so I cut all of it out like a tweaker searching for copper in an old house. I was just like until it was all gone. And now I have no quarter. So I got a reproduction one there that I had shipped in on freight, and I've been fitting it up for a little while. I got it to look halfway decent. There's a bunch of stuff. The tail panel's all kind of screwy. I don't know if I'm gonna replace that or just try and patch that into the new quarter. I'm gonna figure that out later. Right now, since it's cold out and I'm missing a bunch of supplies I need, it's gonna be a mechanical day. And with the power of self-tappers, I've kind of got it all figured out. I need to line it up a little bit more, but so I don't know. I've been just wrestling with this car for forever, and I'm pretty burnt. But I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for this episode. Give you 20 minutes of just despondence and depression. But that's fine, because the next episode we'll do some exciting things. I know you see this crappy wiring that I just farted all over on the car, but that's going to serve a purpose next time. We might be hearing some V8 noises. So if you're hyped for that, make sure to give this crappy installment a like and subscribe so you can see some quality here in the future. Thanks for watching.